Hello, and thank you for joining us on this very busy Wednesday evening. I'm Charlyn Garcia. Coming up, a demonstration in Venezuela in support of Alex Saab. Amazon is on thin ice with Congress, and a look at your week's weather. All this and more as PS News starts right now. Here's what's happening around the world. Officials in China say a murder suspect is who was on the run for more than a week has died. The manhunt for Oh Jin-sung garnered widespread attention from the Chinese public. Police say he took his own life during a confrontation with authorities Monday. According to officials, he was discovered in a cave in a seaside village. The 55-year-old was wanted for attacking his neighbors in China's southern Fujian province on October 10th. According to state-run media reports, a 78-year-old man, his daughter-in-law had died. The man's wife, grandson, and great-grandson were injured. Pope Francis says he's going to continue pesting on social media. He didn't mean to say posting. The pontiff was referring to the fact that many people think he is a pest for hammering on social justice issues. Speaking via video to international grassroots and social justice groups, Francis said there is still time to abandon the system's relentless logic of profit that he says is carrying us towards the abyss. Issues he is passionate about include pharmaceutical companies releasing patents, banks canceling debt for poor countries, industries to stop polluting the environment, and arm manufacturers to stop trafficking weapons. Supporters for Colombian businessman Alex Saab held a demonstration against the extradition to the U.S. Sunday in Caracas, Venezuela. Saab is an alleged financier to embattled Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. He was extradited from Cape Verde to the U.S. and is scheduled to appear in court on Monday. The U.S. Department of Justice said Sunday the U.S. alleges Saab was behind a corruption network involving a government-subsidized food program called CLAP that allowed Maduro and his allies to steal hundreds of millions of dollars from the Venezuelan people while also using food as a form of social control. Now let's take a quick look at this week's weather with Liam Sample.
Thank you, Charlie. I am PS News meteorologist Liam Sample. Let's take a look at this week's weather. So first, we'll start with our map, which shows us the temperature for tomorrow, October 21st. We'll start at home with Plattsburgh, New York, which is a 67 in the high of the local areas. As we head into New York, it's in Dannemora, we're looking at about 60 and then 62 down south in Osable Forks. When we head over to the Lion Mountain area, it just gets more cold. And about in Owl's Head, it's about 60 degrees. We head across the lake to the Vermont area. In St. Albans City, it's 59, which is the low for the area, and down in Williston, it's actually 63, which is, pretty high for this, for how deep we are into fall. So now let's look at the 5-day forecast. Tomorrow we're looking at the 61, which will be the high for the 5 days. However, we're looking at a 69% chance of precipitation and most likely rain. As we head towards the weekend, not good for your sunglasses. We highly suggest you put those away. We're looking at mostly cloudy on Friday with an average temperature about 55. Saturday again, mostly cloudy, but very low, or very, very cold day, looking at about 48. We head towards Sunday. We're looking at sunnier than the last couple days, probably partly cloudy. Hopefully we'll see some sun that day, and a 52. And we head towards Monday. We look at more precipitation and the low of the week at 46. So that's all for the weather today. We'll take a short break and come back when we'll look at taking the news around the nation. Thank you.
Sports has been serving its communities, local high schools, youth commissions, clubs, and other businesses since 1984. We specialize in trophies, screen printing, sporting goods, embroidery, office apparel, uniforms, hats, t-shirts, and more. Regardless of the size of your project, you will have the full participation and dedication of our design team. No job is too big or too small, keeping you involved every step of the way so that your vision is our design. Stop into Finney Sports or call us to see what we can do for you.
Welcome back. Here's tonight's national news. General Colin Powell, former U.S. Secretary of State and chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, has died. Powell's family says he passed away early Monday due to complications from COVID-19. A source familiar with the matter said Powell had multiple myeloma, a cancer of plasma cells that suppresses the body's immune response. He was set to get his booster shot this past week, but fell ill and wasn't able to receive it. Even if fully vaccinated against COVID-19, those who are immunocompromised are at greater risk from the virus. Powell also had Parkinson's disease. His career as a distinguished soldier started in 1958 and took him from combat duty in Vietnam to the White House. In 1987, he became the first black national security advisor for President Ronald Reagan. He then served as the youngest and first black chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff under President George H.W. Bush. That would lead to his highest position as the first black U.S. Secretary of State under President George W. Bush. Colin Powell was 84 years old. Trouble could be on the horizon for Amazon. A group of lawmakers has a warning for Amazon after they say top executives, including former CEO Jeff Bezos, may have misled or even lied to Congress about the company's business practices. Members of the House Judiciary Committee's Antitrust Subcommittee say they are giving Amazon a final opportunity to provide exculpatory evidence, to corroborate the previous testimony and statements on behalf of Amazon to the committee. The bipartisan groups that includes Democratic Representatives Pramila Jayapal and Jared Nadler, as well as Republican Representatives Ken Buck and Matt Gaetz, cited recent media reports that cast doubt on testimony provided by Amazon senior executives. The testimony was about how the company uses its vast influence to help its own brands. Amazon executives have previously told lawmakers that it doesn't use the data of individual third-party sellers to inform the development of its own private brand products. The White House has a new plan to combat pollution from widely used forever chemicals. Per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, or PFAS, can cause severe health problems and linger in the environment after being released. The Environmental Protection Agency is launching a roadmap to research, restrict, and remediate harmful PFAS. The actions include a new national testing strategy, a proposal to designate certain PFAS as hazardous substances under existing law, and actions to broaden and accelerate cleanup. PFAS has been manufactured since the 1940s and can be found in telephone nonstick products, stains and water repellents, paints, cleaning products, food packaging, and firefighting foams. The Justice Department is asking the Supreme Court to block a Texas law that bars most abortions after 6 weeks of pregnancy while legal challenges play out. The DOJ made the formal request in an emergency application Monday. According to the department, the law is, quote, clearly unconstitutional. The DOJ says letting it stay in effect would perpetuate the ongoing irreparable injury to thousands of Texas women. The request puts the justices back in the middle of a huge ideological battle. The Texas law is controversial because it bars abortions before most women even know that they're pregnant. The High Court will likely issue an order after asking Texas for a response and giving the DOJ an opportunity to reply. A deeply divided Supreme Court allowed the law to go into effect in September as part of a different legal challenge by abortion providers. When we come back, we'll have a quick look at your sports. Stay tuned.
PS News is a live show put together by just a bunch of college students, and we put it out to the public for everybody to see. Different segments that we have at PS News. We have national news, we have world news, and we cover sports and pop culture news as well.
It's been a lot of fun, especially this semester. We have a great crew and talent that make it amazing.
We go live Monday through Thursday from 7 and 7:30.
Welcome to PS News.
Welcome to PS Sports. I'm Kasandra Webb. The former Washington State Cougars football coach is filing a lawsuit against the university after he was fired last week. Nick Rolovich is suing over unjust and unlawful termination after failing to comply with the state's COVID-19 vaccine mandate. All state employees were required to be fully vaccinated by this past Monday. His attorney says the termination came after his request for a religious exemption from the vaccine was denied by the university. The attorney also alleging the athletic director was going to fire the coach in the spring. Rolovich was named the 33rd head football coach for the WSU program in January 2020, and he was the highest paid employee in the state. His salary was a whopping $3.2 million. 4 other assistant coaches were also let go for not complying. Washington State will play its first game at home without the head coach on Saturday against the BYU Cougars. Court filings show that Kobe Bryant's widow, Vanessa, may be compelled to take part in a psychiatric exam as part of her lawsuit against LA County. Vanessa Bryant filed a civil lawsuit in September 2020 seeking undisclosed damages after photos of the helicopter crash that killed her husband and daughter were leaked. In a motion filed Friday, attorneys for Los Angeles County argue they need a psychiatrist to evaluate Vanessa Bryant's trauma. Her attorneys responded that an involuntary 8-hour psychiatric examination is unreasonable and that it does not take an expert to understand her emotional distress. Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and 7 others were killed in a helicopter crash in Calabasas, California in January of 2020. Former NFL coach Jon Gruden is off the real football field and soon the virtual one. EA Sports says it's working to remove Gruden from its popular video game, Madden NFL 22. He resigned as head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders this week over a series of vulgar emails he sent while he was an ESPN analyst. The emails reportedly included racist, homophobic, and misogynistic language were uncovered as part of an NFL investigation into workplace misconduct at the Washington football team. EA says it is committed to maintaining a culture of inclusion and equity. For the video game, the company plans to replace Gruden with a generic likeness in the upcoming weeks. That's all for tonight's sports. Let's throw it back to the desk with Charlie.
Thank you, Cassie. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have for tonight. Whether you're watching from home or on the go, you can find PS News online at PS Newsroom on social media. Have a good night, Plattsburgh.